You need 100 points added to your credit score as soon as possible. Now, why might that be? Your lease could be ending and you need to get a new apartment, or you need to get a house before that lease ends, or your car is breaking down on you, or God forbid, your car got totaled out and now you need another car, or maybe your business revenue is suffering and you need to stay afloat, or you have a big project you need to take on in your business but you don't have the money to get the equipment you need, and it will be a big chunk of cash for your business, so you need some funding but your credit won't get you there. Whatever the situation is, I'm going to show you exactly what I would do to get the most points possible, around 100 points I would say, and I'm going to give it to you in the order that I know will give you the most points the quickest, as well as the easiest effort to get those points. Real quick, let me tell you about a 5-day training that I'm going to be doing on July 10th. This is for my business owners that need to increase their revenue or want to add revenue on to what they're already doing. During this training, I'm going to show you the method that I started to use that actually brought me an extra 10K to my business in location independent income, so you can work from anywhere, and it's mostly automated so you don't have to do a bunch of the work consistently. Now, this training is going to be live during those 5 days, and there will be recordings available of each session during the duration of the challenge, and this is only going to be available to 100 entrepreneurs that want to join and take the challenge. Now, this is called my YouTube Income Stacking Challenge, and during the challenge we will be learning how to implement different streams of automated location independent income into our businesses so that we can have more consistent revenue coming in that we don't have to work harder to implement. Now, this sounds like something that interests you. Go down to the description, click the link for the YouTube Income Stacking Challenge, and I'll see you there. Okay, so just so we have an understanding, no matter what situation you're in, you don't know which credit bureau the lender is going to pull depending on where you're going to get whatever you're trying to get. And if you're trying to get a house, they're going to pull all 3 of your bureaus. With this in mind, you want to go get all 3 of your credit reports so that you can look for these particular items I'm going to mention to you, because these are going to get you the most bang for your buck. So again, you're going to work on all 3 bureaus, so you need to see all 3 to get this information. So let's get the easiest and most impactful one out of the way. That is going to be you going to your credit report and looking for anything that says revolving as far as the account type, and that's going to be any credit cards or lines of credit that you might have. Keep in mind, this can be department store cards. If you have a line of credit for the dentist, this isn't just normal credit cards. Anything that says revolving is going to affect you in this area we're about to talk about. So some of you may have heard this, some of you may not know this, but what you want to do is you want to try to get all of your balances on any of those types of accounts that are revolving. You want to get them down to under 30%. The reason for this is the balances on revolving accounts affect your credit score more drastically. So if you do have balances that are above 30% of the credit limit, then you want to lower those as much as possible. Ideally, you want to get them down to 10% or less, but if you can at least get it down to 30, that would be a great help to your credit score, and you will see significant differences just because of this. I had a customer to get 90 points back after he paid down the credit card that he had. Now, if you don't have any credit cards at all, go get yourself a credit card, because having one on your credit report with less than 30% utilization is going to help your credit score as well. So not having any credit cards is killing your score. Go and get yourself one if you don't have one. It doesn't matter if it's a $300 credit card, $500 credit card, or a $5,000 credit card. Go and get one and add it to your credit report. Now, another thing to mention here is you want to make sure that any credit cards that you get report to at least 2 of the bureaus, but ideally 3, because again, we want to cover all 3 bases, because we don't know which credit report a lender is going to pull. And if you're getting a house, they're going to check all 3. Now, what to do if you can't get approved for a credit card? Well, the next best thing to do is to find somebody in your family or maybe your spouse that has a credit card that is in good standing, that does not have late payments on it, and then you want to make sure that their utilization is under that 30% as well, and then you want to have them to add you as an authorized user so that can show up on your credit report and you can get the same benefit. This is the 3rd option I'm giving you, because ideally you want to have your own before you try to go the authorized user route, because in some instances they will not count authorized user accounts depending on what lender you go to and what you're applying for. So again, that is the easiest and quickest thing that you can do to get a whole bunch of points back. That's why I mentioned that first, but let's get into some of the others. Now, the next thing that you want to look for on your credit report is going to be any late payments that you might have on your credit report. Go look for any late payments that are specifically within the last 12 months. Don't concern yourself with any late payments that you see outside of 12 months. The ones that will be the most impactful are the ones that are most recent on your credit report. Now, of course, you can dispute these just like any other account on your credit report, but it can prove to be very difficult to get these late payments removed off your credit report. So one of the things you can do while you're in the midst of getting those balances paid down on the credit cards or go and get yourself one is you can send a letter to the CEO of the company that you have the late payment for and ask them for forgiveness for that late payment. Now again, this isn't foolproof. It isn't going to be a 100% hitter for you in getting the late payments off, but it is an option that you can try. So whatever the bank is, whatever the company is, you want to go to the website, see if they have the CEO's information listed. Sometimes you can go to the Better Bureau website and you can get more information as far as addresses and stuff like that for these companies, and you might be able to find the headquarters, and then you can send a letter to that address while addressing the letter to the CEO. And for almost every corporation, it should be really easy to at least Google the corporation's CEO and find the name of that individual. Now other than that, you honestly can go to the BBB and file a complaint if there was an issue around the late payment that you know exists. You can go to the BBB and file a complaint. You might be able to go to the CFPB and file a complaint as well. Those are options that you have in addition to sending the letter to the CEO or doing a dispute for the late payment. More on the disputing side in just a second. Now another thing that you want to do is you want to go to the credit report and you want to look for anything that says collection or charge off on your credit report. Now when you find those items on your credit report, you want to see specifically in the name area of the credit report for these accounts if it lists a third-party company there. Now if it lists a third-party company there, of course this is a third-party collection company, and you want to try to do a validation of debt with that company. So you want to send out a dispute. You don't want to do it online, even though you would think that would be quicker. What you want to do is send it by paper mail, because you always want to have a paper trail whenever you're doing any disputing on your credit. Now debt validation is going to check to see if this debt is actually valid. The real key thing when it comes to doing any type of disputing is going to be dealing with the accuracy of the account, the timeliness of the account, and if the account is verifiable. As far as accuracy, that does not mean if the account is yours or not. That means if the account has any errors on the actual credit report, and there can be several errors on the credit report, and you can just look at your report and see various ones there. When it comes to timeliness, is this account beyond that 7 years of stuff is supposed to stay on your credit report? And when it comes to being verifiable, that means can this information actually be verified? Can they go dig in and do the work and the research and investigate and see if they can verify that this information that is on the report correct? Now also, when you're dealing with collection companies, you do have the Fair Debt Collection Practice Act, which has other factors that go into it that you can also include. Part of that is what the debt validation letter is for, but by sending that, you get the process started in regards to seeing if this debt is even valid. And then beyond that, you can also use some of the other things that I mentioned as far as it being timely and being accurate to see if they can verify the information, because the burden of proof is on them, not on you. And in a lot of instances, you might see some of these accounts get removed. And the reason why you want to focus on these is because when a collection account is removed, it actually benefits your score more versus you paying it and it's staying on your credit report. In some rare instances, you might be able to get an account removed, a collection account only, third-party collection account removed if you pay it, but more than likely you are not going to find a collection company that is going to do that. It's very few of them that do. You're lucky if you have one that is, but if not, then this is going to be your best option. Now, if you've gotten value from what I've mentioned to you so far, please hit the thumbs up button to show YouTube that this is a good video and they can show it to more people that need this information. And if you've heard all this information before, or if this is all new to you, also leave me a comment down below in the description, just so I can see if I'm giving you guys really new and helpful information. Now, keep in mind, with everything that you're doing, it takes at least 30 days for you to really see a change on your credit report. So keep it in mind that you might not see any results from what you're doing until at least about 30 days have passed. And in some instances, it might take a little bit longer to fully get the results of what you're trying to do. And when I'm saying that usually just taking one shot at trying to get some of this stuff accomplished isn't going to be enough. In some instances, you might have to reach out, 2 times, 3 times, maybe even 5 times, because the credit bureaus do make it hard to get things taken off of your credit report. But you have to stay the course and just keep being consistent to try to get the results that you want. I know that you might be in crunch time right now, but honestly, if you're in a bad situation with your credit, you have to do all that you can as long as it takes to try to get to a better place, because whether that crunch time moment passes or not, whether you pass your deadline or not, if you still end up in the same situation with your credit, then that means that you're doomed to face this same problem again at a later time when you have another deadline. So it's better to keep moving while you have some momentum versus stopping and feeling defeated and then not continuing the process and not getting the results that you aim to get from the start. Now, if you need some help in trying to do some of these things with your credit report, I do have some tools tools down in the description. You can check those out, and hopefully that'll be helpful to you in trying to get your credit to a better place. And there's so much more that could go into this. I was trying to give you the things that you can use in crunch time, but I do have a whole series that I did that teaches you point for point everything that you need to do at every step to fully restore your credit to get it to a good place. And I'll send you to the first video in that series here, and hopefully you enjoyed that video. I know it'll be a great help to you, and I'll see you guys over there.